Well, hi everyone. Welcome to week number one. And as you'll see as we go throughout this class, every week I like to put up an introductory video for each week's material. Those videos won't be very long. They'll usually be about 10 to 15 minutes in duration unless I really get carried away. But I like to put those videos up just to serve as a recap of the information that we covered in the previous week, and then to do an introduction to some of the main topics and the highlights that we'll be covering in each new week. So this is your week one video. Again, I am Dr. Powell and I'm your instructor for the course. I hope you've had a chance to go back and take a look at the welcome video that gives you a little bit of information about me and who I am and where I came from and how I ended up here. So if you haven't done so yet, please look through that welcome video. I also hope you've had a chance to take a look at the syllabus so you can familiarize yourself with the class, the topics we'll be covering, and some of the assignments that you'll be doing throughout our time together. Typically, the approach I like to use in my courses is that I will open up a learning activity week by week. And so each week I will open up the new week, usually on the preceding Friday or Saturday, and you'll then have access to that information. So don't be alarmed if you go into the class and all you're seeing is week number one. That's correct. That's the way in which it's supposed to work. So just very briefly, in a couple minutes, let me just tell you a little bit about what you're going to be doing in this first week of the course. I really like to look at this week as kind of a get to know everyone type of week and get us started in the course. And so no real heavy duty assignments or heavy duty reading. You'll see on the screen that I'm sharing with you, that's our week one learning activity section. And you'll see in our agenda, there is the welcome video, obviously, and then this week one overview video. In your primary textbook, you have chapters 1 and 2, and that will just introduce you to the idea of ethics and administrative ethics and just kind of get us going in our discussion for the week. I also have some videos that are provided for you as well. You'll see there's a video on meta-ethics, divine command theory, and natural law theory, and you'll see those as we scroll down in a second. I've also provided a video for you as a refresher for how you do multimedia discussion board presentations, because we're going to have several of those assigned in this class. And so as we scroll on down and take a look, there's the welcome video. I hope you've already watched that. If not, please do so. We have an Ask Your Instructor section. You probably have become familiar with this in some of your previous courses. So if you have a question about course material or assignments or anything like that, you can always post your question in this link, the Ask Your Instructor link. If you prefer, you can always send me an email and I will respond to your email. I try to be as responsive as possible with emails. I am much better. When you look at the syllabus, you'll see my email and my cell phone number. I'm much better with emails than I am with phone calls. So I highly recommend to you, if you need to contact me, use the Ask Your Instructor form. If that doesn't work well for you, then please do then utilize email. I have a video up here. It's a short, about 10-minute video on meta-ethics, and just to introduce you to the idea of meta-ethics if you've not been introduced to that concept before. A primary difference between what we think of as normative ethics and meta-ethics is in normative ethics, we'll ask the question of, what is right? Is this right or is this wrong? Meta-ethics, we get into deconstructing the idea of right and wrong. So it's not just, is this right, but what do we mean by right? What do we mean by wrong? So it really delves a little bit deeper, does a deep dive into what we really mean by these terms, right versus wrong. Divine command theory, you've probably been introduced to, that's been introduced to you before. We have a video on that. We have a video on natural law theory. Again, something you've probably been introduced to, but each of those are relatively short videos, 10 minutes about for each one of those, so it won't take you too long, but I do ask that you watch those videos to prepare for the week. Also provide some supplemental information in addition to what you are covering in your textbook. You've probably done these multimedia discussion board posts before. They've become very common in this program, and I think just about every course uses them now. But if you need a little refresher on how to do it, there's a video provided for you there that you can watch the video and just relearn, if you need to, how to post those videos into a discussion board. But again, it's a skill you'll need to demonstrate throughout the course because the entire program has become very fond of using those multimedia types of discussion board assignments. Speaking of which, your one main assignment for this week, in addition to watching your videos and doing your readings, is this multimedia introductory type of assignment. And so you probably, again, become familiar with this in your other courses. You're going to develop a PowerPoint presentation that will be a brief introduction to yourself. Presentation for this week should be very short, should be 2 to 3 minutes, a minimum of 3 slides, title slide, content slide, closing slide. You can go beyond that if you would like. You can certainly have more slides than that, but that is the minimum requirement. So you'll create a PowerPoint presentation. You will narrate that PowerPoint presentation, which again, I think you're probably familiar with how to do that. If not, you can see that in the video. You will then host and embed your presentation, again, using the steps provided for you in the video. Most folks host them on YouTube. Some folks do it on Vimeo. It's completely up to you. I tend to use YouTube myself just because I'm an old guy and I'm a creature of habit, and that's what I've always used, and so I continue to use that. But you can use either product. It's completely up to you. I do ask that you embed your presentation into the discussion board. So we're not looking for just a link. We're looking for the video to actually be embedded within the discussion board. And again, refresher on how to do that provided to you in the video. And then as always in this class, in addition to your presentation, in addition to your initial post, you will then also have to respond to colleagues. So we're asking that you respond to a minimum of 2 other students, welcome them to the class, offering them encouragement, sharing something you may have in common, just tell them you like their presentation, but something to kind of get this sense of community going in the classroom. In terms of the grading, 40 points are possible for your initial post, and then 10 points, 5 points each for your comments to other students. So 40 points for your initial work, and then 5 points for each of your responses to 2 colleagues. I like using discussion board in all my classes. I think it's very useful, again, for providing a community and kind of getting us to know each other and to be comfortable communicating with each other. I am not going to grade your discussion posts based upon grammar necessarily. Now, there are some egregious errors that detract from the content of what you are trying to say. That may be noted, and there may be a deduction for that. But for the most part, I like to use discussion board to get the communication flowing throughout everybody in the class. So that's your first real main assignment in the course for this first week, doing that multimedia discussion board presentation and responding to 2 classmates. So again, pretty light load for the first week, but that's by design, so you can kind of get going and get comfortable with your class and your classmates and the content that we'll be covering throughout our semester together. So that's about it. I'll be back again in the beginning of week 2 to provide you with a week 2 overview, where we will then talk about some of the highlights and the information that we'll be covering in week 2 of the course. So I wish everyone a very good week. I look forward to working with you, and I will talk to you very soon.